Start with gentle ambient music and sounds of a quiet, waking city. In New York, the New Year often feels like a checklist. You've got brunch reservations to make, new gym routines to start, and a list of resolutions that, let's be honest, probably won't make it to February. Faith, if it's there at all, tends to follow the same script. Scheduled services, prayers read from a book, a sense of formal obligation. I was used to that world, a world of efficiency and timetables, where I rarely saw faith as a living, breathing part of someone's day. But here in Vietnam, I stepped into a completely different rhythm. I found temples alive with the scent of incense, filled with a quiet devotion and a gentle human warmth. People weren't here because they had to be. They came because they wanted to, unhurried, seeking health, luck, or just a bit of peace for the year ahead. And it changed everything I thought I knew about belief. Transition to visuals of dawn in Vietnam, misty streets. I left my guest house just as the first light touched the sky. The streets were calm, but you could feel them slowly waking up. There was the smell of damp earth from the night's rain, smoke from incense coils spiraling upwards, and the faint, delicious scent of tea and sticky rice from early morning vendors. All around me, people were moving toward the temple. Families, older couples, young people on their own. Some carried incense sticks, others had offerings of fruit or flowers. Little kids held tightly to their parents' hands, their small faces filled with a quiet curiosity. What struck me immediately was the flow. Unlike the rigid schedules of churches back home, the movement here was fluid, almost like a gentle river. No one was rushing. There were no ushers, no bells telling you where to go or what to do. Everyone moved at their own pace, creating this incredible unspoken harmony. Visuals shift to the temple entrance, intricate details. The temple courtyard opened up before me, a world of ancient wooden beams, darkened with age, and intricate carvings that told stories of legends and spirits. The air was thick with incense smoke, swirling in the soft morning light that streamed through the tiled roof. I stepped onto the stone path, and the first thing I heard was the sound of prayer, a soft, continuous murmur that was almost musical. Devotees were everywhere, bowing with their palms pressed together, their eyes closed in concentration. I saw children mimicking their parents, some a little clumsy, others with a surprising reverence. There was no sermon, no formal recitation. Here, the ritual was in the body, in the gesture, in the quiet intention. It was a silent conversation between a person and the sacred, and it demanded sincerity, not a performance. My heart just swelled. I felt this deep admiration for the freedom and serenity of it all, but another part of me felt like an intruder, like I didn't have the authenticity this place deserved. Show close-ups of people praying, offering flowers. I started to wonder, just observing. I saw a woman place a handful of jasmine petals before a statue of the Buddha, bowing 3 times and whispering a prayer for her father's health. I saw an elderly man gently offer incense to an altar, his lips moving silently, praying for a peaceful year. A young mother guided her small child's hands to bow, teaching reverence not with words but with patient, loving affection. The intentions were so pure, so human. Health for family, a bit of prosperity, a sense of inner calm, or simply gratitude for making it to another year. Going to the temple wasn't a chore, it was a choice, and everyone carried themselves with a quiet dignity. I couldn't help but contrast it with what I knew. Back home, devotion can sometimes feel like a performance, measured by rules or even social approval. But here it was intimate, personal, and deeply real. Focus on sensory details, smoke, bells, textures. I took a deep breath. The sweet, spicy scent of incense filled my lungs, mixed with the fragrance of fresh flowers. I started noticing the little things, the soft ringing of small bells as people moved, the shuffle of feet on the polished stone floor, the way all the low murmurs of prayer blended together into a single peaceful river of sound. This temple wasn't just a building, it was alive. Every single gesture, bowing, placing an offering, lighting an incense stick, was filled with purpose. There was no pressure to do it right. I felt this pang of longing. In the West, our rituals can sometimes feel cold and structured, the personal meaning getting lost in the rules. Here, I was watching devotion flow so naturally. The intention mattered more than the technique. Sincerity was the only thing required. Show quiet interactions between people. Even in the silence, there were conversations. I saw a man whisper to his neighbor, "Pray for health," and they bowed together, sharing a soft laugh afterward. I saw kids giggling as they tried to balance candles, and the adults around them just smiled with this gentle tolerance. A young couple stood side by side, eyes closed, hands pressed together, sharing a private moment of reflection. It hit me then. Prayer here could be interactive, a form of connection, but it was still so deeply personal. There were no rules, no fees, no judgment. It was simply a space for hope. It made me think about how often faith back home can feel like a set of obligations, defined by attendance or social expectations. Here, it was chosen, guided by a simple inner desire for peace. Show Clara finding a quiet corner, lighting incense. I found a quiet corner near the main altar and hesitantly lit a stick of incense. My mind was a mess. One part of me was so worried I was doing it wrong that I was just a tourist faking it. But another part of me felt the beautiful freedom in this place, this voluntary act of hope. And somewhere deeper a voice asked, "Why does my heart feel so moved yet so unworthy of this peace?" I watched the people around me, a grandmother praying for her grandchildren, a young man asking for a safe year. My Western mind, so used to structure and discipline, was colliding with this fluid, heartfelt practice. There was no judgment here, and that in itself was powerful. I looked closer at the rituals. They were so simple. A piece of fruit, a few flowers, a stick of incense, a bow, a whisper. No grand displays, no lavish offerings, just pure sincerity. And I thought about our New Year's traditions, champagne, loud parties, resolutions we rarely keep. So much of it is about the external show, not the internal reflection. Here, the smallest act, the bending of the body, the lighting of incense, the whispered hope, was filled with meaning, humility, and respect. I was finally starting to understand. Faith isn't about obligation or spectacle. It's about being present, being aware, and holding a heartfelt wish for well-being. Wider shots of the temple, the flow of people. As the morning wore on, more people arrived. The flow never stopped, but it never felt crowded. Families walked in together, holding hands. Elderly couples moved with a slow, deliberate grace, bowing in perfect sync. The rhythm was human, communal, yet deeply individual. Each person was in their own world of hope and prayer, but they all intertwined effortlessly into this collective atmosphere of peace. It was like a living, breathing meditation happening in a community. It wasn't an order imposed from the outside. It was a harmony that grew from the inside out. Sitting there quietly, it all clicked into place. Faith here is voluntary. The rituals are simple, yet they carry our deepest wishes for health, luck, and peace. This temple was both a sanctuary and a community space, where you could be an individual and part of a whole at the same time. I felt humbled, full of admiration and a quiet sense of longing. For the first time I saw that a spiritual life could be immediate, heartfelt and shared, without being dictated by a rule book. Final scenes of Clara leaving, smiling back in the bustling street. When I stepped back out onto the sunlit street, the world felt different. I was carrying a small bundle of flowers and incense, and the air was a mix of the temple's calm and the market's energy. My heart felt light. The temple had taught me something profound, that faith is chosen freely, practiced with sincerity, and connected to life's simplest, most beautiful hopes. I thought one last time about New York, about the efficiency, the obligations, the performance. None of it could ever replicate the gentle power of what I had just witnessed. As I walked away, I smiled. The temple was no longer just a building to me. It was a living mirror of our shared human desire for well-being, for harmony, and for connection. And that's a lesson I'll carry with me long after I've returned to my own structured world. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. If this story resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd like this video and subscribe for more. See you next time.